Vice President J.D. Vance is downplaying the leak of a racist and hate-filled group chat among young Republicans exposed by Politico as, quote, pearl clutching. In it, the members referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They also talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believed support slavery. MSNBC has not independently confirmed the Politico reporting, but here's how the vice president reacted to it.
Focusing on what kids are saying in a group chat, grow up. I'm sorry. Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chats. If you put something in a group chat, assume that some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to try to cause you harm or cause your family harm. But the reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes. Like, that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. And at some point, we're all going to have to say, enough of this BS.
Joining me here in studio is one of the journalists who broke this story, Emily No, a political reporter for Politico, who co-authors the New York Playbook, as well as independent journalist Philip Bump. I just say, as the mother of a boy and a girl, I was like, my son would never do that. Ever, period, full stop. Having said that, the vice president dismisses this. That's something that kids do, particularly boys, and it's not very smart. But you make a very good point that they're actually adults, that there are many of these people on this group chat. They work inside government. In fact, isn't there one who's a state senator? I mean,
exactly.
Tell us about this whole group.
Even if they were kids, how excusable should this be? But they're not kids. To be in membership in the Young Republican clubs, you can be as old as 40. That's effectively a J.D. Vance peer. These were folks who were in positions of leadership and influence, folks who formerly worked for New York legislatures, someone who is currently a sitting state senator in Vermont and being pressured by his fellow Republicans, the governor and others in the legislature, to resign his position. So we're watching the fallout unfold now in terms of folks being out of their jobs. But the question that is raised now is, does Vice President Vance give permission and cover to other Republican elected officials who may want to start to say this is okay?
So let me ask you, Peter, do you find the, Philip, rather, I just had Peter Baker, but it's like it's a P. I mean, Peter, Philip, yeah, okay. So anyway, do you think the vice president's reaction is surprising, considering how vocal he has been in the wake of all the comments from Charlie Kirk's killing?
Yeah, exactly.
He's just been all over that.
It's critical context, exactly. Not only has the vice president advocated for a crackdown on people who dare sully the memory of Charlie Kirk, but the administration has broadly taken the position that words are equal to violence, right? You see DHS, you see people saying that, oh, if you dox ICE people, if you identify members of ICE, that is akin to violence and violent behavior. So on the one hand, they are arguing that words have the power to do these destructive, horrible things when they are the targets of it. But on the other hand, when it is simply outrageously racist commentary about black people or saying that you love Hitler, that's just kids being kids. I will say, I'd actually looked at the numbers.
40-year-old kids being kids,
right.
Potentially.
But I looked at the numbers today, and actually, within the Republican Party, people aged 40 and under are pretty young within the Republican Party. Only a fifth of Republicans are that young compared to a third of Democrats. So within that context, it's actually, they are fairly young.
And I'll add really quickly what Philip is saying is this investigation conducted by Politico. We read 2,900 pages of the text. These are not one-offs. These are racist epithets used over and over again, gay slurs, jokes about gas chambers, and sexually assaulting their political rivals. It considered not just the content of these text messages, this group chat, but also why they had permission to say these things in the first place. Who in the right wing, in the Trump administration, among very high-profile podcasters are echoing the same sorts of ideology.
And you have reporting that Democrats are trying to capitalize on this. How so?
Right. So if anything now, considering the midterms up ahead and how close the House majority is, we have New York Democrats in particular really weaponizing and seizing on the relationships between some of the members of this group chat and the elected officials that may be in vulnerable positions come next year, and really saying, you've denounced this, yes, but you're still connected. This is still representative of what your party stands for.
Let me, Philip, go a little further with what the vice president tried to do. He tried to turn the attention to those violent text messages, that the scandal that's been involving the Democratic Attorney General candidate in Virginia, Jay Jones, who has talked about shooting a Republican lawmaker.
Right.
Okay. And in fact, Republicans are spending, I think it's like $2 million or more on these ads trying to hit the gubernatorial candidate, Abigail Spanberger, for not calling Jones out and saying you should drop out of this race. Let's watch part of one of those ads.
Would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail?
I'm curious how big of an issue this is for her. Does anybody see this as politics and she's just not going to take the bait and get into some mudslinging back and forth?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, we haven't seen robust polling in Virginia yet that looks at this issue. My guess is that most of the lines have already been drawn. I mean, we're pretty close to the election right now. The Democrats are going to vote for the Democrat, Republicans are going to vote for the Republican. That gives an advantage to the Democrats. Is this the sort of thing that shifts the debate? Maybe a little bit, probably not too much. But again, let's go back to the overarching point, which is this hypocrisy. The fact that you have, on the one hand, this group of people, including an elected official, who are making these sorts of comments. Yes, what was said in the text message that is the focus of that spot was reprehensible and, just a dumb joke and a terrible joke, if you want to frame it as a joke. But it is irresponsible and unfair to isolate that as a key important issue and then wave everything else away as just kids being kids. And it really speaks to the fact that one of the things we've gotten away from over the past 10 years in American politics is just that people feeling that they have accountability. Like, people need to feel like they have accountability for the things that they do.
Curiously, just last question quickly. Is this group chat still up and running?
It's not. No, not at all.
Okay. Good to know. We'll just let that be the exclamation point to all of this. Thank you very much. Good to see you both.